Magandang buhay! Ngayon ay masasaksihan natin at mapapakinggan ang isang testimonya ng buhay ng isang Alexander Martin Buol na pinangmagatang Glimpses. Chapter 1: Unexpected Metamorphosis. Who am I yesterday? Change is the most relevant and constant in this fast-paced world. Everything starts with being nothing and eventually lead to more complex and success in life. Human has the capacity to be plastic. We could adapt, change, and rationalize based on what the society demands for us. As time flies, from a single cell who triumphed in the race of life, after the moment realizing the value of existence, the reality of development is realistic and true. By knowing the worth of life, we are accepting who we are and deeply inform what are the capabilities we are possessing. Honestly speaking, I'd be glad if people see me bloom and rising from maturity that comes from within. Simply reminding me the next responsibilities that carry upon my shoulder. It is something that I should work to and to meet the expectation bestowed in me. Unexpected metamorphosis, meaning a naturally occurring change in the structure of an organism outside and inside due to the genetic and environmental factor. It implies the background happening in the past is clearly not defining the characteristics and the attributes in the future. However, and motivation to be more majestically different and excels at all fields. The future which foretold should be embraced and is clearly defined who am I in the past years of life. It was tremendously event that sometimes go thinking bad possibilities and perception towards education and success. I may be weak outside, nevertheless, the fighting spirit that flares in my heart will pump and all the tiring days will wipe and turn into something I don't expect to. We often hear to the elders statement like, "Aba, kaganda o kagwapo ng batang are, ibang-iba noong bata pa eh." After that, we are such grateful in such that there is someone who appreciate and know our worth. It means the development is fast-changing term flowing out with times. As times revolves, change happens both voluntarily and involuntarily that eventually go further and enhance our nature. K6, Strange, Divisible, Xerox, Naked Truth and Reality of Life. Walking down under the excessive heat false odors and disorganized materials in school, simultaneously scorching the scalp due to the lice and dirty sleepers, and shall begin the class. Disorganized, meaning to say that things are just laying down on the desk and I don't care at all so long as the satisfaction with feelings and emotion are met. With this, you will have the idea of who am I in my early formation as a learner. I even skipped daycare and failed once in kindergarten. It was funny how I'm just like many students who cries and afraid that parents will leave us to school, leading to the idea of skipping and letting be failed once. With this, I am just stubborn and dependent child who don't usually see the importance of education as the key to open the door of success. And my early schooling was just typically like the others. However, it changes, entering much more complex and higher grade level that requires more persistence and brain. Knowing who would be thought that I could be an outstanding pupil in my time, knowing that I am just lazy, just like the others. Luckily, I changed and resulting to be more competitive learner at all fields. Also having the hearts of sports, syempre. I'd become a sporty individual even representing the schools in the different track and fields when the intramurals time. After all, I noticed that these magnificent changes when I am in senior high school and upon going back what I'm in the past. At the start of the game, both environment and people are strange to me. Knowing that it was not comfortable place when I could express my feelings and aspiration towards the people, even if my classmates are just my neighbors. The feeling was too strange and different just like before. Another one, indivisible meaning. I don't use I don't usually socialize and talk to anybody. I feel just like an atom, which is small, particle, but important at all. The mere fact that I am afraid of discrimination by these people who are not aware of this on the set personalities and the characteristic I possess. So I just decided to stop at kindergarten and just find more reason to continue pursuing what my parents desire. After that, I'm a Xerox, who usually an equipment wherein to copy out the original information. Not to brag, but honestly, I'm usually the answer giver to some of our classmates who are lazy and don't know what the exact answer, not just one subject, but by all. I also I also usually look up with someone who has the same passion just like me in teaching. At the early age, I just wanted to be a Xerox of him. Resulting to be more competitive in class, there is a statement coming from my teacher who reflects what kind of student I am, clearly define what their character development enhance. Quoting, "Magaling ka naman, bakit ngayon mo lang pinakita?" These words of wisdom define what kind of student I am in elementary level. Series of changes and development occur within the span of staying there. This starts the ignition bell of turbo and flare up the burning passion in my heart to give back what my parents deserve. I'd become more optimistic, forward-looking, and more competitive. This young man represented the school in different competition created and facilitated by the division of Calapan City. However, it does just not happen in smooth manner. There are conflicts regarding the financial assets. There are moments that me and my mother finding enough money to support in a particular competition I dive. With this, I learned that the value of being a thrift, properly distributing the necessary budget for each. It also come to my senses that money truly runs the world. If you don't have it, you are nobody. Maybe I keep my eyes wide open to what is really happening, giving me the wider perspective on how to deal with it. Upon assessing and visualizing who I am yesterday, specifically in kindergarten up to grade 6, there is enormous change which corresponds to attitude, physical attributes, and the different aspect that result to good. However, it was not easy to deal with it. I become more suppressing to others, resulting more to more conflicts and childish fights. This late childhood is set to another flights towards developing and knowing personalities that are needed to succeed in life. 7 to 10. Building bridges towards value. Jumping out to the more complex and a bit harder than it seems. I remain strong carrying the burning passion to me. Something to find the real meaning of life. As aiming for and stepping out to the ramp, the distance widens resulting into more effort exerted to reach the school. Putting things organized, clean, neat, uniform, and newly brushed shoes set up to go. With this, shifting to childhood to adolescent stage core. There is action that I should afraid to do. I become more conservative, sensitive, and more observant to the environment which I work in. I remain a talkative individual, nevertheless, in a good manner, trying to be more informed and well-informed in class discussion. Although, as the start, immaturity is present, just being a boastful and overpowering when it comes to dealing with people that result to misunderstanding. I am a person who is afraid to disappoint my parents when it comes to schoolworks and the school report cards, and such reasons that they know how I will perform in class. Extreme pumping of heart when the release of card emerges. However, it also part which I don't feel like they're supporting me through it all. They usually not attending the class meeting alongside. Eventually, I deeply understand the reason behind it. I'd become more understanding individual when it comes to serious matter. My viewpoints how to react to serious matter are developed and further matured compared to the previous years wherein I become more impulsive and just mean what I say. I still look up with the different competition inside and outside the campus, gaining much respect to fellow students. Thinking with this, I exclaim that I could practice out the sense of leadership since I am gifted having a broad and loud voice plus the initiative to create common purpose towards schools and student itself, development and interconnection. With this, gaining to freely express who am I without the guts and the discrimination thrown at me, in a way that they know what I can do and capabilities as well, giving the ideas that I am more powerful and could influence the decision of other students. However, I remain my feet on the ground and display such compassion heart and mind to serve the fellow learners. In short, I'm aware to the fact that I know to play my cards well and show expertise reflecting on the action that I must do. Moreover, it comes also to my senses that showing respect to gain it will never be imposed to anybody. In this bracket of age, also I'd become a rational human being who could reason out and fight what is really my guts tell me. Through exploring and engaging myself in the series of webinars and debate duly organized by the outside organization, this also the time of being curious in how things usually work, especially sexual desires, which could lead to be more problematic if there is no proper guidance coming from the guardians. And then, try to question your purpose in life. And this time, I try to figure out what is the real meaning of my life in this world. Maybe the context is just narrow and light to think. However, I seek to find my value and worth to others. Upon reflecting with it, I knew that my purpose is to build bridges, not literary road, but a vehicle to peace and contentment. We can't deny the reality that we are living with a diversified nations, which means that there are a bunch of cultures and traditions that being displayed whenever they are communication state. My duty is to bridge for them to realize that culture sensitivity is a must, which means that there is no right and perfect culture that could be on top and suppress other religion. Letting them to exercise freely what they think was right but not limited to idea that racial discrimination happens. I also know how to build good relationship to other people. I could read the possible actions and motion that they can possess based on the casual in communication by these people, wherein I adapt and change everyone's moods to settle conflicts that results in small fights. Upon previewing on those set personalities, I define that in this bracket of in my junior high school, I become more matured enough at all aspects. From dealing the physical changes brought by puberty, by being sensitive to other people, and further enhancing the positive attitude not just in me, however, encompasses to know the worth on and be a human person towards other. These developments that happens holistically are parts of the largest purpose of life. I might be too emotional with some points in life, create a breakage in my personalities, yet I choose to stand up and face the unexpected reality that life may give me. SHS time, management of time. The mere fact that I just wanted a quality education that will be a good formation for me in college. I chose this school without even knowing the possible struggle that it would give me. Stack of files and documents needed to finish, large cup of coffee and batch of stress would fill up my mind. I often hear the comparison of students within Kalapan. There's a reminder on which HIA could classify, wherein bags are full, carrying file case and wearing just powder to erase the and become invisible all the wrinkles and the pimples around the face. It was just an ordinary day. A girl is look exhausted, reading and memorizing the notes. It looks like that there is a war approaching. But the sad reality was true. She would have her examination, I exclaimed. I would not enter the same situation just like her. Unluckily, I was put and enrolled there. Within the span of staying there in the said institution, there are many changes and developing attributes happen on me, basically the term time management. The only way to survive is properly maximize the set priorities so that all the tasks would be accommodated. I believe on the ancient saying that time is gold. You should be able to use it timely and properly so that there is a less stress occurred. All seconds matter. With that, I'd become time conscious and not wasting time just for fun. However, creating something that surely benefits the future. Staying there made me more emotional. I always cry whenever there are series of documents needed to compile for each day. There are also moments wherein stress overflows and overpower my mind and body. I was not able to think properly and finish even a single assignment. I usually cry and looking somewhere beyond my eyes could see. It was the time depression hits me. Thinking that what will happen when I suicide. It was only a single solution with the problems I had. Not until armies of friends approached and helped me to find more reason to continue education and of course life. I learned the importance of valuing people that surrounds me who are supporting with me throughout the day. Not just that, I also become a student to accept failure. Won't even define who I am. With that, I moved totally and moreover, I'd become an attention seeker. Meaning to say that all the attentions coming from my friends, relatives, and family members must be on me so that I could feel the sense of belongingness in a particular circle. Whenever there are points that they're often hearing my rants, I usually settle and be quiet until someone will talk to me again. At night, I always cry, trying to question who am I to them. A lots of overthinking ideas comes in my head and bugging me to sleep. I lost some of my friends at the long run. However, I do believe in the quality over quantity. It was totally fine with me. Even if there are 3 or 4 to person, so long as they are free to hear me and comfort me when the dark days comes. Not to brag, with that moment, I continue to adapt and be more matured in dealing person around me. I also learned that I am worthy. Who am I today? Battle of Mask, Triumph of Future. Up to this day, life has been characterized as seen as a fast-changing, dramatic, and drastic changes that resulted in different personalities being outgrown. This setup had been the system not so long as 2 years. Such behaviors and attitude change in relation and adapting to the demands of the world. May link na ba? May panibagong post na naman sa classroom? I immediately look and grab my phone to see that the notification coming and stop the alarm being set. It was a new and brand new day to freshen and start the day. It may be tiring, however, I know that this might wait for another achievement to unlock. Being aware that after all the predicaments and the different conflicts as well as the issues, there will be a light and success after all. I continue and get off in bed to take a breakfast and attend the morning class. Letting myself to stop for overthinking on how to figure out and finish the remaining tasks that I have. When the pandemic occurred and still ongoing, everything has changed and altered. It affects both physical and mental health of the people. Different companies and corporations find another way on how they deliver and set their products and services around the country. There are a series of talks made the president to adapt and make a strategy to cope up with the tremendous and hurtful happenings. We all know that the economy had suffered from the series of lockdown being done by the government to protect the people. In addition, church had found another avenue to deliver the good gospel to the people, that being aired on the television. The most controversial and the problematic is how education will survive and continue, since schools and establishments are being closed. Different institution adopts the new normal of education, displaying and applying synchronous and asynchronous as well as the limited face-to-face on their students. This action is most challenging since it was the first time we're going to implement this. It was too challenging and try to question, how did this work? As the new normal in education is being applied by the different schools and universities around the world, it was the time my mental health had been triggered. I'd become a more overthinker man who just wanted and laying my body at bed at night. I cry for no reason. I just find myself not worthy and deserve to have the things that I had now. It's just hard to accept the mere fact that beside from this, my father experienced the deadly and never be seen COVID virus. As the day passed, the number of emotion and thinking are just stuck up in my head and seemingly patterned out in my mind. Just like a stack stone which hard to balance out once there are additional stones to be put. I experienced all that in the past years and that defined what personalities I had. Luckily, I had a variety of friends to get out the darkest days. Yet it was too hard and need to sacrifice bunch of things to succeed over this. As the pandemic rolled over, these friends of mine from the church ministry, although I am part of this in the past years, encouraged me to be one of them. So I used this time and opportunity to get out the stress I had. This time, the pandemic heightens and the tool to make spiritual aspect be stronger and to be more. I engaged myself in different activities held by the Pamayanan Church and parishes such as attending the Mass, being a reader, a lector, youth mass, and especially I discovered myself more as I has entered the world of singing. I joined our chorale who are being get by the different barangay near our site. With this, I am being elected as one of the youth leader who supervise and create activities for the youth. Honestly speaking, I never imagined myself to be in this position in such reason being stated above from being introvert and suffered from light depression. I go around and beyond what I can do, and thus clearly depression I go, clearly define under the personalities I had. I always find happiness and contentment when I do and serve the Lord in church. I know that God wanted and viewed me as a tool to bring back people, especially the youth, being lost. I always trust His greatest plan. I am aware that this our God wanted to of education. I know that this kind of learning modality has challenging me to be more and to be the best version of myself. that is capable of withstanding the different predicaments in life. This is also one of the stresses and trigger my mental health because I know that I need to succeed and finish my undergraduate degree to bring what my parents had done to me. I'd become lazier. In fact, I'm just doing this for compliance over learning. At first, as the time passed, I adapt with it. I had learned and unleashed the potential in me being created in different activities I do. I learned how to balance and manage the time to accomplish the task, setting up the priorities of what comes first to avoid cramming. Although there are many issues and problems arise in this learning system, such as internet connections and gadgets, I find some ways and avenue to still fight for my dream that is believed that was meant for me. It is funny and fascinating how the theory of evolution by Charles Darwin could be known and humanity curse. Our capacity to adapt to the various circumstances and environment enable us to let the things around us to dictate who would become. We are still flexible and even though it was hard and problematic, we still pursue and it good for the all. Who I was in the future, 10 years from now. Trajectory and glimpse of the future profession. For our guest speakers who will join us some inspirational talk and tell us the behind the story of his great success amid the different circumstances that challenging him. He is a graduate in elementary in the school, Silone Elementary School, continued pursuing secondary years at Parang National High School, and finished graduate and undergraduate school at Mindoro State University, Calipan Campus, taking Bachelor of Science in Secondary Education major in Filipino and currently teaching at Parang National High School and supervisor at the DepEd Calapan. He had dedicated almost 5 years to the teaching field and become a great person who both imposing morals and attitudes to the students. A great citizen who always open to suggestion within the community. A good son who provide everything that his parents needs and demands. My dear parents, students, guests, co-teacher, and graduates, let's give him a round of applause to Dr. Alexander Martin Sibaol, MAED, PhD. At the long run of educating and shaping demands of the students, I have learned to coexist and adapt to their environment, giving the opportunity to transmit the learning to unleash the hidden potential within themselves. Dr. Boal said, I guess in the next 10 years, I'm hopeful to transcend and reach the greatest dreams since I was a child. To start with it, living in the middle ages of studies is quite hard. I need to do some extra works and earn enough to sustain my living, especially in a pandemic, when everything really stopped briefly. I often get modules from a variety of students and got the opportunity to be a tutor in the different grade level. It's quite challenging to balance my own academics, wherein there is always required general weighted average to qualify in the next semester and the student that needed to be tutored so that they will learn that time so that the payments of their parents will have worth. It's funny and interesting that I can balance that and eventually be flexible who can adapt to the situation. The challenges, conflicts, and problems made me who am I today. In this 10 years duration, now I reach the position of being supervisor, which requires me with so much passion, strength, determination, and knowledge to deal with people. Also create an interactive yet full of learning materials to help the students to easily comprehend the topics. With this status, I am aware that there are more responsibilities on my backs, such as thinking not just for my sake. Nevertheless, bunch of learners that are well motivated and hunger to make them more meaningful and rich as a teacher. There are more skills, potentials, and attitudes that arises as the problems continues to emerge as times pass by. From a simple creation of PowerPoint presentation, I started to be creative to make not just a good, but strive always for perfection to effectively transmit to them the necessary knowledge that needed unto life. Moreover, I mastered the attitude of being patient, which are one of my key why I'm standing here all of you. Also, I become a positive thinker, not letting any downfalls ruin what I started. I can say that I already know how to balance and control my emotions. In 5 years of teaching, not to brag, I imparted so many ideas and lessons in life. I've seen how students triumph in their respective field, fueling more passion to inspire other learners to continue in pursuing what they desire to be. At this point, from among the seed-like personalities, it grows much bigger and stronger that is reflexive, passionate, driven, and goal-oriented. At that many years of time, being busy, I never forget who is the source of life. Both strengths and determination in life, it is always God. In the long years of being busy, I linger to serve with Him with gladness, even at the moments wherein dark days happens to me. For I know that He will guide me and protect me in the road that I will take. Reminding to all of you that managing time and effort between church and school works will possible if you let your spirit owned by Him. It never be seen an issue if you choose not to go to church. It was how you will striving for being good amid of all the possible devils that will go around you. As a son, I know that in the next 10 years, I will have no wife nor children to bear. So all the money will be led to my family. There is such a stable income with our grocery stores and subdivision. They don't need to work in such that they all deserve the opportunity they had on their hands. At that time, I fully gave back all the sacrifices my parents done to reach me where I am today. Apart from that, the fully renovated house is completely done, wherein it was huge. I just want all the family members to be here so that it will make sense. I am at the peak of letting my sister finish her course with financial, academic, and moral support. I was so happy seeing my dreams slowly foregoing. If I gave up in the darkest year, who am I today? Maybe a man is striving for oneself. I want to spoil them with they want, for I am aware that they all deserve it. I am sharing with all of the students I have eroded to be a strong man today. As a citizen of this community, I open to lend my support in the community which I belong at all aspects. Even if they wanted to hear my opinions with regards to a specific matter, I am there to give some words. At the end of the day, just keep in mind to be a humble and remain God as the center of all the things that we are doing. Whatever you have reached, just keep your feet onto the ground and straight your eyes with the endless possibilities might see. To be a great son, teacher, and citizen is what God called me. To the most important thing to put in mind. To be, there comes a great responsibility that carry upon my shoulder. As a teacher, there are more skills, potentials, and attitudes that arises as the problems continues to emerge as times pass by. From a simple creation of PowerPoint presentation, I started to be creative to make not just a good, but strive always for perfection to effectively transmit to them the necessary knowledge that needed unto life. Moreover, I mastered the attitude of being patient, which are one of my key why I'm standing here all of you. Also, I become a positive thinker, not letting any downfalls ruin what I started. I can say that I already know how to balance and control my emotions. In 5 years of teaching, not to brag, I imparted so many ideas and lessons in life. I've seen how students triumph in their respective field, fueling more passion to inspire other learners to continue in pursuing what they desire to be. At this point, from among the seed-like personalities, it grows much bigger and stronger that is reflexive, passionate, driven, and goal-oriented. At that many years of time, being busy, I never forget who is the source of life. Both strengths and determination in life, it is always God. In the long years of being busy, I linger to serve with Him with gladness, even at the moments wherein dark days happens to me. For I know that He will guide me and protect me in the road that I will take. Reminding to all of you that managing time and effort between church and school works will possible if you let your spirit owned by Him. It never be seen an issue if you choose not to go to church. It was how you will striving for being good amid of all the possible devils that will go around you. As a son, I know that in the next 10 years, I will have no wife nor children to bear. So all the money will be led to my family. There is such a stable income with our grocery stores and subdivision. They need they don't need to work in such that they all deserve the opportunity they had on their hands. At that time, I fully gave back all the sacrifices my parents done to reach me where I am today. Apart from that, the fully renovated house is completely done, wherein it was huge. I just want all the family members to be here so that it will maxims. I am at the peak of letting my sister finish her course with financial, academic, and moral support. I was so happy seeing my dreams slowly foregoing. If I gave up in the darkest year, who am I today? Maybe a man is striving for oneself. I want to spoil them with they want, for I am aware that they all deserve it. I am sharing with all of the students I have eroded to be a strong man today. As a citizen of this community, I open to lend my support in the community which I belong at all aspects. Even if they wanted to hear my opinions with regards to a specific matter, I am there to give some words. At the end of the day, just keep in mind to be humble and remain God as the center of all the things that we are doing. Whatever you have reached, just keep your feet onto the ground and straight your eyes with the endless possibilities might see. To be a great son, teacher, and citizen is what God called me. To the most important thing to put in mind. To be there comes a great responsibility that carry upon my shoulder. Gift of joy. What over the years I considered the gift of joy? There are a few questions still on my mind. What could be the possible reason as well as a point in life where tag has a gift of joy? Well, in fact, every moment in life given by Him should be celebrated as a precious flare, and it's up to us on how to treat it and make the best out of it. Joy had a greater meaning when it comes to defining it. It could be a simple happiness or a spiritual necessity for mankind. According to the Merriam-Webster, it was defined as a state of or feeling of a great pleasure and happiness. It could be on the different forms by any perspective. Some might get happiness by the problems that challenge them to be the best or the positive outcomes of all the actions that they have done. With that, joy is a broad concept and hard to define by a single outlook only. However, encompasses variety of opinion in life. There are a series of joy passed in my hands. From the point I was born up to the pieces of milk, powder, and the care and protection my parents had done to raise a handsome and gentleman like me. It was interesting and funny to think that amidst almost 21 years of existence, I might lose person that are close to mine and gain such true presence that accepts who I am, and that is considered the gift of joy I receive in my life. Education is the greatest power we must to fight the poverty that is unfolding. Without it, there is a there is still a huge number of spiking related to it. It was tough to pursue it, knowing the fact that we are still in a pandemic, when almost half of the people lost their job that might help them in their study. The system of education we have now requires to have a gadgets and stable internet connection to better sync all the necessary learning that needed in the future profession. It was still difficult when you are in the average type of student. Nevertheless, we should continue striving and aiming for greater good. You want to know what kind of moments I consider the gift of joy from kindergarten to the college level? Here what is it goes. Tertiary education is quite hard. It demands deep efforts and adjustment to be flexible in that and adapt in the system. As I started entering in college level, it was the start of pandemic, so there is no need for something to surpass what are the expectations thrown by my parents. Honestly speaking, Mindoro State University is my dream school, aside from the well-known university outside the province. I've already had my entrance examination at Batangas State University. Unfortunately, pandemic ruined everything. As I reflect on what school will provide the necessary learning that will prepare me to the profession I wanted to be, a short story that happens to me. Since I chose to register here and waited long month to be called by the interviewer that will assess me, and that's not happen. I failed to assume. Going to the other option, which is to enroll at City College of Calapan and to take Bachelor of Education major in Science, and to think of ending my first semester there. Even though my parents would not allow me to transfer, I already made up my mind. I will follow my dream, especially my dream school, that will surely afford me to the knowledge on the chosen field to be pursued. I feel that I belong here. There are many factors to stay there. However, I choose to be an irregular student just to enroll in this prestigious university. I took up the courage and proved the capabilities I must qualify in the College of Teacher Education. Since the day I chose teaching as the profession, I wanted to be here. There are many schools that offer this kind of course. Divine Word College of Calapan is one of it. However, we don't have that kind of enough money to enroll there. As I browse in, Mindoro State College of Agriculture and Technology, known as Mindoro State University now, had a good standing when it comes to the licensure examination, and there is no tuition needed. So, on this, I made up my mind to be in here. The said rating as the major reason why I chose Mindoro State University as my fulfilling institution. Second is the fact that it was a free and convenient, although it was far away from home. Third, and with and be proud that I am enrolled in the first ever university to be known and established here in Mindoro. This was exactly my answer on the interview conducted by the College of Teacher Education to qualify and enroll in the said program. It was challenging to be in here. I already experienced cramming, sleepless night, and slow crying at night in my first half year in here. But it never stopped in here. I will strive harder to accomplish the set mission. I may be lost at the beginning, but at the middle and are exciting and gratifying. To cut the story short, I continue second semester at this school. However, things are not aligned for good. I failed one subject and that was frustrating. I tried to compromise everything so that I could get another year in here. Luckily, I passed and seeing my name at the list, and I was so happy as my parents are extremely proud of it. This was the key moments that I consider the gift of joy. Having the opportunity to study enrolled in a college wherein many can afford, especially in these trying times. There is such thing more than this. An open opportunity to elevate and reach success is what many people wanted to have. This education is something that would not possibly stolen to us. In addition, the joy I received the point I see on my name on the list of qualified students in the next semester, it was tough, getting harder at a certain point. However, I will not stop until I had LPT on my last name, Padayan Future Educator. Gift of pain. What over the years I consider the gift of pain. Undeniably, we as people has its own shadows and flaws that are hard to see by others. In such we hide them so that it may not thrown us to us as a weakness to use against us. In the past years of existence, there are so much pain that I've experienced that give us the people to strengthen our faith and persistence to go through it. It was something that could possibly harden our core and enlighten our heart and mind to set the straight to the goal in life. Pain had a deep meaning, and others might view it differently. It's up to us on which angle we are going to use and define it. However, in simplest according to the Merriam-Webster, it was a localized or generalized a pleasant bodily sensation. It could be an outside or inside tensions that we are feeling based on how we react to it. However, in this state of emotion, depend on how people view and their preferences. With it, we come to the generalization that pain is such a concept and ideas that we have only in our mind. That is hardly look for a specific entity. To be honest, it was only happiness and joy. Nevertheless, it was twinned up with sadness, despair, and pain, in which I've already experienced in the past years. By this, it could be dying of our loved ones, failing at some events that are more challenging to be shared with people. COVID-19 was totally mess and disastrous. It killed millions of people around the globe and infected billions of occupants until it was declared a global pandemic, wherein the qualification and admission had designated transmission and infection rate were achieved. Everything stopped in the single moment. It changes and alters thing that we used to do. From the industry to the system of education, it was called as the new normal, wherein there should be at least 1 meter, wearing face masks, getting vaccine, and as soon as possible, you cannot mingle out with other people. Church had adopted the live scene on the different platforms such as Facebook and YouTube, so that it can reach out and deliver the gospel to every home. Second, business find different grab, deliver, and online shopping to continue surviving. Lastly, education system wherein variety of modality and LMS had applied to ensure the quality learning will be still firm amid the pandemic. Of course, you are curious, why I still tell this? Well, in fact, it sounds too cliche. Let us go straight to the bottom of it. COVID-19 had already marked scars on my heart. Maybe the body recovers to it. However, memory, it lies deeply forever. The most painful events I've experienced, which I am aware that God gave me to strengthen my faith to Him, is that when my father had been infected with the virus itself. At that silence, I began to worry and cry so much when I see the tracker of the City Health marking the exact information of my father. Maybe I know that he will still be recovered with it. I cried deeply when there is a past medical history with regards to his condition. I am afraid of losing my father at an early age, wherein I had done nothing yet. I just wanted him to see the future might unfolds to me. At that time, I was deeply so much in pain when I know that we are going to 14 days quarantine, and I don't think that I could handle that. Well, in fact, I am a party goer. Another thing is that amid the long run of being quarantined, the list of qualified students for the summer class were released, and I am not with it. After that, I think the world punched me with the hardest way. After all, I was enjoyed my father already recovered it with the virus itself, and I passed the semester and been qualified to the next semester. Prayers are always my shining armor in these trying times, for I know that He will not give me such stress and problems that I will not overcome. Pray, trust, believe, and surrender are such words of wisdoms that allows me to be such stronger and be the person who am I today. In life, we are facing amounts of things that could change our perspective about certain things. COVID-19 might bring painful memories. However,